Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining me. I am with you this morning to provide an update on our efforts to assist Canadians in leaving the Middle East and the Gulf region. As of this morning, more than 100,008 100 sorry. As of this morning, more than 108,000 Canadians in the region have registered with Global Affairs. Of these, approximately 3,500 Canadians have contacted Global Affairs to request assistance in departing. We are sending information directly to Canadians about the assistance being offered. At this time, our government continues to provide three types of departure options. First, charter flights, second, block bookings, and third, ground transportation when and where it is safe to do so. I will speak first to charter flights. Our government has secured a charter flight from Dubai to Istanbul that accommodates 180 Canadians. This flight is scheduled to depart tomorrow, March 7th. This charter flight is being arranged on a cost recovery basis. Notre gouvernement a réservé un vol nolisé entre Dubaï et Istanbul qui pourra accueillir jusqu'à 180 Canadiens. Ce vol doit partir demain, le 7 mars. Ce vol est organisé sur une base de recouvrement des coûts. On block bookings, starting first with UAE. Our team at Global Affairs is working with Air Arabia to block book seats for Canadians on two of their flights from Dubai to Istanbul. These flights are set to depart over the weekend. Through these arrangements, we expect to accommodate between 45 and 50 Canadians on each flight. Notre équipe à Affaires mondiales travaille également avec Air Arabia afin de réserver des blocs de sièges pour les Canadiens sur deux de leurs vols entre Dubaï et Istanbul. Ces vols devraient quitter Dubaï durant la fin de semaine. We also have an agreement from Emiratis for their March 7th flight from Dubai to Toronto, where 51 persons were able to purchase a ticket. This block booking is now sold out. With Middle East Airlines moving to Lebanon, we are booking and are sure that we will be able to do so. 50 seats on the March 5th flight from Beirut to Istanbul, and another 50 seats have been booked for the same destination on four other flights for a total of 200 seats. So that's 200 seats from Beirut to Istanbul that have been booked for Canadians. If any seats are unused by Canadians, we will offer them to Europeans and like-minded missions for their staff or citizens. Since the beginning of the block booking efforts, our mission in Beirut has secured 325 seats for Canadians wishing to depart. Avec Middle East Airlines, 50 sièges avaient été réservés sur le vol du 5 mars reliant Beyrouth à Istanbul et 50 autres sièges ont également été réservés pour la même destination sur quatre autres vols pour un total de 200 sièges. Moving now to ground transportation. As of now, no ground transportation organized by our government is confirmed. However, we are aware that Canadians have been making their own arrangements, with some choosing ground transportation. I want to reiterate that any ground transportation carries risk. Et je voudrais réitérer que tout déplacement par voie terrestre comporte des risques significatifs. The situation, in conclusion, across the region remains volatile and unpredictable, and that is why we have a team here at GAC working 24 hours a day to provide updates to those who have registered. And we strongly, in that vein, encourage Canadians abroad to register with our ROCA program to receive up-to-date information rapidly. You can contact us 24/7 at our Emergency Watch and Response Center at 613-996-8885 or me-mo.sos@international.gc.ca, and we will provide updates as the situation evolves. And with that, I can take your questions. Thank you.
Merci, Madame la Ministre. On va maintenant commencer la conférence de presse. Pour prendre des questions, s'il vous plaît, levez votre main. Thank you, everyone. We will now start the press conference. Please raise your hand. We will go in order of hands raised, and it will be one question, one follow-up. Thank you very much. David.
There we go. I'm unmuted. All right. Minister, thank you very much for speaking to us. I understand that either you have or later today you will be having a briefing with your caucus colleagues. And there are probably many reporters on this call who have spoken to some of your caucus colleagues, sometimes in confidence, sometimes not, who are a little nervous, to say the least, about our overall response to this, the Prime Minister's response. Do we support this military action with regret? We don't. Are we sending troops, etc.? They seem to be a little concerned. So when you speak to your caucus colleagues today, what will you be telling those who, as I say, might be a bit nervous of the way we're responding to this?
So the primary purpose of the call with our caucus colleagues today is to outline the efforts that we've been making for many of the constituents in their ridings relating to consular supports. And indeed, I've been in touch throughout the week with my caucus colleagues on that very issue through various means of communication. In addition, as you have heard from our Prime Minister, that Canada has long recognized the Islamic Republic of Iran as the principal source of instability and terror in the Middle East. And despite 2 decades of diplomacy and IAEA oversight, Iran has not dismantled its nuclear program or halted enrichment. Canada's taken action, significant action, in fact, relating to this very point, declaring the IRGC as a terrorist entity, imposing more than 500 sanctions on individuals and entities of the Iranian regime, and coordinating pressure with international partners. And so that will be part of the messaging that we will be ensuring is addressed today. But let's be clear, my purpose is, as Foreign Minister, to make sure that I am doing whatever possible to support Canadians in the region, over 160,000 Canadians at that, and making sure that they have means to exit the region should they wish to do so.
Thank you. General Carignan today is going to participate in a meeting through NATO with other military leaders about potential response. And while I recognize that that's more Minister McGuinty's bailiwick, I wonder if you have had any contact with your counterparts in Gulf states about what Canada might do to protect, assist in beyond sort of diplomacy, possibly in military ways. Have you been involved in any conversations with some of your Gulf state colleagues?
So I have indicated in my social media the significant conversations that I have had across the Middle East and Gulf region, as well as with my G7 counterparts over the past number of days. We stay in very close touch by text, by phone call, and we will continue to do so given that we have very close partnerships throughout the region. I want to be clear that we have no intention to participate in Operation Epic Fury. We were not consulted on this military operation and have not participated. I understand that General Carignan is in touch with a number of allies at the Chief of Defense staff level, and will continue to be coordinated in order to ensure that de-escalation and the protection of civilian life and civilian infrastructure is top of mind. As I mentioned, my focus is on the safety and security of Canadians as well. we are working very hard to get Canadians home. And on this briefing, I'm outlining a number of efforts that we've undertaken to do so. And I have an update that I'd like to offer on ground transportation as well. We have just confirmed 4 buses leaving Qatar to Saudi Arabia starting on Saturday. We have 180 seats on offer. We are coordinating closely with Australia in this respect, and we encourage Canadians who are registered with the ROCA system to indicate their desire to utilize this means of transportation if they wish to do so. Thank you.
Thanks, David. Over to Marie.
Oh. Hello? I don't hear anybody.
Hello, can you hear me now? Hello?
I can hear you, yes. I don't know
Okay,
who
great,
you are,
sorry.
though. Is
It's
this...
Mari Wall from the Globe and Mail. Hello.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
There's a certain amount of disquiet among some of the caucus members about not being kept in the loop about evolving events. And I know you said you're going to brief them at the meeting, but are there any other mechanisms being planned to allow them to voice their opinions, to consult them more widely? Frankly, a lot of the numbers I've spoken to have said they're just learning from the news what's going on and haven't been kept in the loop.
Mm-hmm. So, to be clear, I have been in touch with my caucus colleagues throughout the week through various means of communication, including regular updates, especially vis-a-vis consular matters. I returned to the country this week and immediately organized a caucus call for today. And of course, as the House resumes sitting on Monday, we will have our regular caucus meetings and will continue to stay engaged. I will also indicate that the Liberal Party of Canada has always been a party with numerous viewpoints, and we welcome diversity. It's one of our strengths, in fact. And so I have great respect for my caucus colleagues across the board and very much look forward to hearing their viewpoints, as I know the Prime Minister does as well. And we will continue to engage and ensure that together we're charting the strongest and the right path for Canada while keeping Canadians safe throughout the region and ensuring that they can return home through viable and safe means.
Yeah, just on that, Canadians and their families who want to board these flights, do they require up-to-date visas, passports? What if people's passports have expired? Are you expediting their renewal? Are you relaxing the rules slightly? Could you possibly let us know what's going on with that? Because I'm imagining there will be people with out-of-date passports who really want to get out.
This is a very good question, and we are working very hard at all times to ensure we have emergency travel documentation that is necessary and available wherever possible. So, in other words, we certainly welcome all Canadians who wish to return home, and where their travel documentation is expired or in other way compromised, we will work to ensure that we're doing whatever possible to bridge that gap. I would ask Canadians in those circumstances to contact our missions in the particular country in which they reside. All of our missions are currently offering services, and the visa requirements depend on the particular country in which the Canadians are finding themselves either residing or countries to which they've traveled to. Information relating to these types of issues is in our travel advice, and I would very much encourage Canadians, first of all, to register, of course, and to make sure that they're following the travel advice that we are issuing. Thank you.
And now, Rania.
Yes, can you hear me? Vous m'entendez?
Oui.
OK, parfait. Donc, c'est Rania Massoud de Radio-Canada. En fait, je vous parle de l'aéroport de Beyrouth en ce moment. Je parlais avec des Canadiens qui sont sur le point de monter à bord d'un avion où il y a des sièges réservés. Ma question, c'est, le Liban compte quand même un grand nombre de Canadiens, 23 000, je pense, inscrits. Et 200 sièges réservés pour les prochains jours, ça semble peu. Est-ce que vous allez en réserver encore plus?
Oui, bien sûr. Notre intention est de continuer d'avoir des options pour les Canadiens dans toute la région et surtout dans le Liban et d'autres pays aussi. Donc, comme vous avez vu, nous avons s'assurer que nous avons les block bookings, mais aussi une vol, surtout pour les Canadiennes. Donc, c'est toujours notre priorité, 325 sièges par exemple. Et aussi hier, nous avons vu un vol et c'était un des seuls vols qui a quitté la région. Donc, nous continuons de réserver les sièges comme nous pouvons le faire.
Et ma deuxième question, c'est par rapport au cas où l'aéroport est fermé, où il y a une menace sur l'aéroport, ou qu'il n'y a plus de vol possible. Est-ce qu'il y a un plan B?
Oui, bien sûr. Oui, oui, toujours nous cherchons des options. Et la situation est volatile et nous devons être flexibles avec nos plans aussi. Donc, à ce moment, si ce n'est pas possible de voyager par terrain, nous continuons de chercher des autres options. La première pièce de conseil est de rester en place, de suivre le conseil local. Mais aussi, nous travaillons avec d'autres pays. Par exemple, nous avons vu que le gouvernement d'Israël a déjà réservé des autobus pour des citoyens partout dans le monde qui sont là. Donc, les Canadiens ont déjà utiliser ces moyens de transportation, de quitter la région et en total 131, that's 131, 131 Canadiens ont quitté d'Israël déjà sur les autobus. Un autre exemple, si vous voulez, est que nous avons, comme j'ai dit en anglais, partagé avec l'Australie pour nos citoyens de quitter le Qatar pour Arabie Saoudite samedi, demain, avec 180 sièges sur les autobus. Donc, nous cherchons les moyens et nous coopérons avec des autres pays pour chercher des moyens de transportation pour nos citoyens. Donc, c'est volatile, mais nous avons plusieurs options pour nos citoyens. Comme j'ai dit, trois options en général. Les vols que nous avons réservés nous-mêmes. Deuxièmement, les block bookings. Et troisièmement, la transportation sur le terrain.
And now we'll go over to Ryan.
Yeah, good morning, Minister. I'm wondering, I mean, you mentioned this just a moment ago in French, but a lot of the flights we're seeing are now getting canceled out of Beirut in response, I assume, to Israel's further attacks there. Previously, Canada has chartered boats to get in and out of Beirut. Have you started the process of looking into that? Because I know it can often take some time to get something like that aligned.
So in my meetings with the departmental officials at Global Affairs Canada, I specifically state we must utilize all options to assist Canadians. And that includes all means of transportation. I will reiterate that seaway is always an issue and is especially dangerous at this time, but my team is sourcing all means of transportation for Canadians to leave the region as a whole. As I said, we have approximately 160,000 Canadians in the region. We have over 2,000 Canadians who have said that they wish to leave. And step by step, we are ensuring that Canadians can leave through three means, either through our chartered flights, through block bookings on existing airlines, and by ground transportation. Seaway is always another possibility, but we are cognizant of the dangers of traveling through this means of transportation at this time.
Okay. And then just as a follow-up, I guess, are you now looking at options for the Canadian military to help with this evacuation, either by strengthening air defenses in the region so that it's safer for commercial flights, or by using military flights to get Canadians out?
As I said, we are looking at all options, period. And we want to ensure that we are moving Canadians as soon as possible. And my team has been in touch with D&D to ensure that all options are available should other means of leaving the region not remain viable. But again, given that there are flights leaving the region now, and we are able to book seats on existing flights, that is the most expeditious manner in which to ensure that Canadians can leave. But the team at D&D is always involved in our planning. And of course, as we've done in several other instances in the recent past, including when I was the minister at the Department of National Defense, we include them in our planning and we ensure that options relating to military capabilities are part of potential planning. Thank you.
Now we'll go to David.
Good morning, Minister. Can you hear me all right?
Yep.
Mr. David Baxter with the Canadian Press. The other day, General Karen Young was talking about the possibility of speaking with other Gulf nations to see what they may need and what Canada can potentially do to support. I know it's a bit more of a defense question, but if you can put your old hat on for one more second, what can you tell us about the rationale for considering sending military assets to the Gulf states when they aren't a NATO member at this point?
I want to be clear that the conversations that are happening at the military level are ones that I am not involved in as the member of Parliament in an Ontario riding who's concerned for citizens in this riding, and as the Minister of Foreign Affairs is concerned for citizens across this country. I am very much focused on the consular supports that we are offering for Canadians. We are not anticipating military involvement at this time. And as I said, we have no intention to participate in Operation Epic Fury. The work that General Carignan is doing is part and parcel of our dialogue with allies that occurs regularly. And once her conversations are concluded, I expect to have a readout and engage with Minister McGuinty about next steps. Thank you.
David, we will wrap after your follow-up question will be our last question.
All right, no, thanks for the heads up there. And just, Minister, I want to ask you about some of the criticism the government's gotten over the last few days on contradictory messaging around the war. At first, it was, yes, we support what the U.S. is doing, but now we support this with regret. The conflict of Iran is a failure of the international system, but now we're also calling for diplomacy when that is an option, but accepting the American argument that at this point, diplomacy with Iran has failed, and we have to take the world as it is. So, can you explain how these different messages meld into something that illustrates Canada's point on this conflict, and how much of this has to do with the upcoming Kuzma review and, not trying to tick off the Americans?
Okay, let me succinctly state 3 main points. Okay, first, Canada has long called for the dismantling of Iran's nuclear program and the importance of compliance with the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. We believe in ensuring that we are doing our part for greater stability, and that includes declaring Iran's IRGC as a terrorist entity, imposing over 500 sanctions on individuals and organizations, and ensuring that we support the people of Iran in any way we possibly can. That's the first point. The second point is that we reaffirm that international law binds all parties, and there is no blank check in terms of the operation that is being undertaken. And the third point is that the safety and security of civilians is of the utmost importance. And in that vein, de-escalation is top of mind in every conversation that I have with our partners in the Middle East and the Gulf region. I am working as the Foreign Minister to bring Canadians home as soon as possible. And you have seen us put numerous options on the table for Canadians. The work continues, and I will keep this group and Canadians up to date with the latest travel arrangements that we are putting in place. Et peut-être je pourrais ajouter quelque chose en français aussi. La sécurité de nos citoyens dans la région est notre priorité à ce moment. Il y a des menaces là dans la région et je vais travailler et je vais continuer de travailler avec nos partenaires, nos alliés pour s'assurer que les Canadiens et Canadiennes peuvent retourner chez nous aussitôt que possible. Ça, c'est notre priorité et on va continuer de travailler là-dessus. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. That concludes today's press conference.